A very good evening. You're watching News 9 Facebook Live with me, Adarsh Vepachedu. Now, the selection process for H-1B, the most sought-after visa among Indian IT professionals, is all set to change. Up until now, the US had a computerized lottery-based system to grant H-1B work visas to foreign technology professionals. And in the latest, the Trump administration has proposed to replace it with a new system based on wage level. So your competition with fellow Indians will not be based on luck, but on how much you earn. In simple terms, the more you earn here in India, the better are your chances of getting selected for the H-1B visa. Now, obviously, this move, like many others in the recent past pertaining to H-1B visas, has been carried out to counter the downward pressure on the wages of US workers. So how will it impact the Indian employee looking for an H-1B visa? Is the US leaving some scope for unscrupulous elements to make a quick buck? How will the Indian companies react to this very move? To discuss some of these pertinent points, we have with us Supreme Court lawyer and immigration advisor Sanket Yanagi joining us on the program. Many thanks, sir, for speaking to us. Now, this lottery-based system of selection versus selection based on wages. What is your take, and which one is better for us Indians? Because the United States is constantly only thinking about themselves, and it is time we do too.
Mr. Adarsh, now H-1B visa, which is existing, is a non-immigrant visa that allows American companies to employ foreign workers
Correct.
in occupation that require theoretical or technical expertise. It is highly sought after the Indian IT professionals more so.
Yes.
And the H-1B visas are granted by a computerized or computer-run lottery if the number of applications exceeds the annual quota in the first week. And presently, the U.S. Congress has already set a limit of 65,000 visas annually. And the country's Citizenship and Immigration Services approves the visas on a first-come, first-served basis beginning each year on April 1st.
Yeah.
But now the proposal by the Donald Trump administration to scrap lottery system to select H-1B visa applicants has the major impact, more so on the Indian professionals who are employed in U.S. So by virtue of this, the visas, granting of H-1B work visas will be replaced, and it will be with a selection process that gives priority to the jobs with the higher salaries only.
True.
And the government is now claiming that it would better protect the economic interest of American workers only, and the Native Americans more particularly, while it is still allowing the U.S. employers to meet their personal needs and remain globally competitive. But for Indians who are mainly dependent on H-1B visa, so they are losing an opportunity of employment in one way. In other way, their immigration process is getting delayed, or it is getting the more and the more hurdles because of the competition from the Native Americans who are now being insulted by virtue of this process. And U.S. Department of Homeland Security also is claiming that it has submitted a notification with Federal Registrar, and that would prioritize the selection of H-1B registration based on correspondence wage levels.
Okay.
And if it receives more petitions than allowed under the annual limit, the stakeholders have only 30 days to respond to the notification, and it is difficult for the Indians to apply again. So this is one way it is causing hindrance to the Indians. In other way, there is one other option how it is affecting the Indians more particularly is a notification which has been now published in the Federal Register on Thursday has 30 days to respond to the notification. However, the Indian IT professionals who are non-immigrant visa who are holding that, and U.S. companies to employ the foreign workers in that specialty occupation, they may require technical expertise. They are not coming forward to hire them, and the Indians are losing the jobs.
Truly.
In one way, prioritization and selection based on the wage levels, according to the U.S. government, though claims that it better balances the interest of the petitioners, that is the H-1B workers and the U.S. workers, but it is indirectly taking away the opportunities for the Indians who are settled in U.S. or seeking employment in U.S. And ultimately, the Indians are losing the employment there, and the U.S. citizens are also losing the expertise which was available earlier.
Okay. So
But it is only
why
to
this particular important realization is not yet dawning on the Trump-led government is still a big question. But again, coming back to the larger picture, Mr. Sanket, by shunning a computerized system of selecting applicants and going for a more human-driven one, could there be scope for favoritism? One applicant getting selected over the other beyond the criteria of wage itself.
it is not just giving a scope for favoritism, it is favoritism only. It is giving scope or encouragement only for the Native Americans to woo them for the election. So indirectly, in order to convince the Americans that the U.S. administration or the Trump administration is working for the benefit of the Native Americans, this act, according to them, or this provision or this amendment or the proposal by the government is in order to convince, last attempt to convince the voters of Native Americans that they are taking care of the interest of the Native Americans better than those of the other countries.
Okay, but at the same time, it is so intelligent somehow, I feel, because the United States administration will eventually get the cream, if I were to say, because they are looking at those professionals who are earning big money. So that obviously means they've climbed up the ladder and they're doing well off in life. So that means that they are skilled, in a sense, more skilled than the others. Can we say that? And does it mean that the United States will end up with a very strong workforce, so to speak?
No, in one way, it disensitives the abuse of the H-1B program to fill lower paid or the lower skilled positions, which is a significant problem under the present selection system. But the question is, with limited exceptions, whether H-1B petitioners are required to demonstrate again a labor shortage as a prerequisite for obtaining H-1B workers. That's again a larger question that still has not been convinced by the Trump administration.
Okay.
And now, the second question that may arise is, since the fiscal 2014 cap season, that is 2013 April, has received more H-1B petitions or registrations in the first 5 days of filing, the initial registration period than the annual H-1B numerical allocations, that is not the case with America now. And more so, U.S. administration has never taken care of the citizens of India who are settled in U.S. or on H-1B visa, who are experts. In order to suppress them, the move has been now taken it forward by the the U.S. administration. But it is a setback for India as a whole.
Okay. Mr. Sanket, how should the Indian companies be viewing this particular development? And, again, as I just mentioned, aren't we looking at a situation where the brightest minds will be picked up by the United States, leaving not much otherwise?
No. It is not so.
Okay.
Because U.S. will be employing only the higher salaried employees. In that case, they may not prefer to pay high salary for the Indians, number one. And number two, by paying the high salaries, they may have to again burden their economy, which they will not be preferring. So in that case, ultimately the losers would be the Indians, Indian professionals or the Indian experts who are settled in U.S. or working there in U.S. on H-1B visa. Neither they will be paid a higher salary, nor they will be allowed to have H-1B visa without the higher salary. Or they may have to compromise their salary and reduction of the salary and accept the lower salary to stay in U.S.
But none of them are favorable. None of
them are favorable. It is only to woo the voters.
Okay.
So, any of the action initiated by the U.S. administration, especially in this period, in this season, I would rather say, are detrimental to the Indians or the Indian experts who are settled in U.S.
Right. So even in this matter, you would say that going back to the lottery system would any day make more sense?
That was reasonable in a way than this.
Okay. Many thanks, Mr. Sanket, for joining us and for sharing with us your insights on this new proposal by the U.S. administration to do away with the lottery system of selection of U.S. H-1B visas. And now they're going to bring in a new system where the selection will be made based on how much you're earning. As the expert just pointed out, it could eventually lead to a lot of problems, a lot of unfair treatment, so to speak, towards the Indians settled in the United States of America. But all of this seems to be done with a particular motive of ensuring that they have an upper hand in the elections that are being held at this point in time. With that, it's a wrap on this brief live interaction. If you've liked the information that we've shared with you, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to News9 on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Many thanks for joining us.